Penguin as well. And he was saying that on XSET didn't really have a great attitude or wasn't really being set up for a lot of success on that team. But now he thinks he's done it a lot better, thinks he's put the team in a much better, and that player in a much better position to excel. So let's head into it, ladies and gentlemen. Our first map of the 2022 season is going to be played on Border as we get into the ban phase between these two teams. And as of course you guys can see, already our first one knocked out as Flores will be eliminated. That's soft breach potential as well as the ability to knock out utility, just far too prevalent on a map like this.
No Thatcher just yet, and no Thatcher are actually going to be banned out here. It's instead going to be the Ying. So I honestly like these offensive bans that we've seen. Border is, well, for lack of a better term, just a very small map. It's very congested, difficult to try and maneuver around. If you guys watched Border about 2 years ago, right before it got taken out, you guys will more than likely remember a little roster named Reciprocity that is now Oxygen, and just how influential they could be on the defense of Border. And it's because of the way that they held down the map. You have to hold almost every facet of entry point in order to get into the building. It's a very aggressive defensive setup, but I'm excited to see it, especially in its newfound state.
Yep, absolutely the case. There's been fairly minor changes to the layout of this map at the end of the day, so it isn't going to fundamentally change things to a huge degree, as older players who have, familiarized themselves with Border in the past might be aware. We're going to have no surprises to start things out, as we'll be heading right over in Armory Lockers and Archives for our initial site choice here, as Parabellum will get things started on the defensive side. Keep in mind, folks, of course, we no longer have a 6-pick phase. You heard the desk talking about it quite a bit. Instead, attacker repick is now in play, meaning that any one of these attackers can change their operator at any point in the next 25 seconds or so.
Yeah, you thought IGLs were important before. Well, the offensive side has just gave them a whole myriad of new tools, and that, well, is every single operator in the game, because you can now drone out the building and know exactly what you want to do operator-wise, and you have the ability to pick that up. So, should be pretty interesting stuff. We'll see if Beast Coast wants to try and do anything with that. They're already doing something pretty early here, Slash moving away from the Zofia to the Buck, and if you guys don't know, Buck is amazing at that underneath destruction, but apparently Slash thinking that that might be a little bit too far, and he'd much rather stick with the 150 of Zofia. So this is going to be pretty interesting throughout the day, just to see how this is utilized by that offensive side.
Slash still, of course, will have access to those lifeline charges there, so still going to be able to walk out, especially over at the west main wall there, to be able to knock out the floorboards underneath, take out any double reinforcement that might have been brought to the table. As you guys may have noted, though, on the defensive side, not going to see a whole lot of that in play, not even any mute jammers be brought out right now. It's mainly focusing on utility mitigation overall, which is why we see, again, that triple threat combo of Jaeger, Wamai, as well as a Rooney to try and eat up all the nades that Beast Coast have brought to bear here.
And you can see with this defensive setup upstairs, they're doing quite a bit of what we were talking about before. They're trying to hold Beast Coast back outside of the building. Haven't really traversed themselves towards the basement space just yet, but really not too much to do down there anymore, especially with how you can actually just plant right inside of box, because it's all concrete now. There's really no nitro cells or anything that are going to be played around that space. So Beast Coast more than likely want to try and deal with this heads up, but it's going to require a lot of heavy lifting.
Can see Surf here trying to look for an entry from the outside of South Balcony. Our analyst talking a little bit about him. This was certainly one of the players that we're looking to keep our eyes on, because we don't know a whole lot about how they're potentially going to do in the NAL with them being scooped up from CL over the past few weeks here. Creators will find himself as the first player down, though, for Parabellum, and that will be found out by Beast Coast, as they've confirmed it with a drone. Surf will actually move forward here, and there's a great cutoff from Sweater as well to punish Wimpy as he tries to rotate up through the east stairs.
Beast Coast waiting for the mistake from Parabellum past Eska's death. We saw a little bit earlier, but actually no, Eska falls and Creators gets picked back up. That was a man that was downed on the balcony, so rather a different confirmation coming out from BC, and some serious damage dealt to Creators, and, well, no Thunderbird, so won't be able to get that HP bar back. These are going to be some hotly contested gunfights going into this last minute, as Beast Coast will work their way into CCTV.
Yeah, Beast Coast obviously getting themselves that opening kill, the massive damage on top of Wimpy and Creators, also something to be considered, but as far as map control is concerned, Beast Coast moving very, very slowly right now, but things are about to speed up in a big way, especially with Slash getting that second kill now against Penguin. The rotates are here from Parabellum, but they're a little bit stacked, especially here at main metal stairs. So you're going to have two players trying to watch out for pushes from Beast Coast here. Obviously, they get the wall open for themselves, and a great cutoff is found from Drip on the outside. Stops the re-swing from Kool-Aid. Surf, in the meanwhile, takes out Wimpy and one of his own teammates, and Creators now going to try to battle this back solo with only 20 HP. A great headshot against Anthony makes it a winnable 1v2, but he can't find the play from Surf as he swings out with the pistol to shut down the first round.
Very well done from Beast Coast here. I love the use of that timer, especially on border. With a map like this and how small it is, especially for the top floor, I mean, you can really take your time clearing up that setup on the CCTV and balcony side. You don't need to sweat it because of that exact same situation. Like you said, John, the timer's starting to dwindle down, but all they have to do is cross a balcony and they're already practically on site. They just need to get that wall open. We see that get done by the Thermite. It's been beautiful so far here from Beast Coast. I'm very impressed. But for Parabellum, going to have to try and sync up just a little bit better. That initial pick that we saw onto Creators was one that was kind of a blunder by the defense. They simply just let somebody swing in onto the break room door, and they found him on the balcony just lacking. He's paying attention to the window instead and just did not have the crossfire to be able to assist their teammate.
Parabellum will need to try and tighten up those defensive positions a little bit here to avoid mistakes like that in the future. We'll see if they can do that as they now shift downstairs into the teller's site for their second attempt here. Obvious upstairs extension is going to be in play here. Lots of soft breach potential to work its way down onto the site if Beast Coast are given free reign over the second floor. So Parabellum will maintain and reinforce quite a bit, allowing for one or two of their own players to continue to rotate around here and delay that soft breach potential for Beast Coast for as long as possible in this round.
Yeah, not one hatch, but every hatch upstairs, including, let's see, if they pop open the CCTV hatch. I'm assuming that he might make that for just a rotation here, but they've got some rotations across the entirety of this top floor just because of how prevalent it is to the overarching story of this site. This is one that's been changed up quite a bit, folks, so be expecting to see something new if you haven't had any experience on the new border, including this wall that we see being popped open currently by Kool-Aid. It's going to be an extended defensive hold once again for Parabellum, as we'll have Eska drop back down into CCTV because they're going to need the rest of these lives as Creators goes down early.
Another great start from Beast Coast indeed, as Creators is found out inside of that first 30 seconds of it. Beast Coast again propelling themselves forward, Sweater being able to use those adrenal surges from the Finca in order to allow the team to have that little bit of extra aggressive capability and the ability, more importantly, to eat that extra bullet or two in a direct 1v1. Penguin has got this massive cutoff in the meanwhile down by Supply, looking to try and punish anybody that would attempt to work their way in, and Slash might very well walk into it in a second. There we go, Penguin. An easy shutdown for him. We couldn't even see it because of Penguin's POV, but he had additional support from Kool-Aid standing right on top of him if someone had found him out via a drone and tried to take him out via the windows next to him as well.
And it's a fantastic combo down here with that cardiac sensor, so Eska can pay attention to everyone on the balcony, and he knows the threats that are coming into the location upstairs. Look, he's found yet another one here as they continue to traverse up top, and he still has that nitro cell in his pocket, so if Surf stands still for too long, he could be losing a lot more than his ankles here. As Beast Coast will be down yet another, and that'll go past the equalizer, getting down here into the last minute and 20 seconds. Parabellum, though, still standing tall on this defensive side.
Beast Coast stalling out a little bit here now after the issues showed up with the elimination of Slash. We can see Surf upstairs once again trying to open up entry capability for this team, and more importantly, clear out the second floor so that they can fulfill, rather, so that he can fulfill his duty of working himself over top of the site. And there we go, knocking it all open. But the problem is, as he approached the office area to be able to start doing that, another player was lost. Now Anthony goes down. Beast Coast only with 3 left alive here. Sweater, Drip, and Surf in less than 50 seconds in order to get onto the site.
Nitro slow down here for Wimpy so he can make himself a rotation or fake a rotation into Passport. Could come in pretty handy here as the bottom of the square is currently occupied by the Beast Coast members. Remember, only 3 of them alive, soon to be 1, but no, Surf fights back against Kool-Aid. It's down into the 3 versus 3. Surf still working those angles up top, as well as a nade comes in from Sweater, and Beast Coast are starting to get some traction here in the dying moments, but they need to find a place for this plant, and honestly, that might be a little bit easier than originally thought about. No nitro cells in the pockets of Parabellum. It's all down to Eska, who has to try and clutch this up. Drip, he will be able to confirm the plant here, but Eska just doesn't have the oversight to be able to stop it. Drip not only gets the plant down, but he also gets the kill, and he's feeling himself on this NAL stage.
We're not going to hear it, but we can feel that energy coming out of him there as he screams to the other side. Look, we put him on like the farthest part as well so that he could really like just echo out with as much rage as possible, and still his opponents are going to have to unfortunately hear that and deal with it every single time he clutches out around here. So once again though, full credit to Beast Coast. Massive recovery in that round. Parabellum had it shut down nice and tight as we saw Beast Coast trying to clear out both the second floor and get some access over into the lobby that would eventually lead to Teller's control for them. But they were able to turn it back around, find those very clutch kills in the dying like 30 seconds or so, and open up enough room for them to be able to take control.
I had a pretty cool conversation with Penguin about a week ago now or so, and talking about the team and that kind of thing. And he had a really good mindset for their defensive side and what they like to try and present to the other teams. I think last round was a perfect example of what he was talking about, and the like that they like to make defensive puzzles for the offensive IGL to try and break down. And that was a perfect method right there, simply because of what they did downstairs inside of Customs. That's not something you're going to see every single day. It's definitely something that's a fantastic strategy with the shotgun underneath and Pulse, but the way that Beast Coast were able to circumvent that and just play the site instead by occupying square as well as taking the verticality over that, it played into Beast Coast's hands so very well. Even though Parabellum's defensive strategy also worked well for them, it was just on Beast Coast who finally got that cut to where they couldn't use anything inside of Customs anymore. They had to try and rotate out, and they started getting picked off via that method. So it was fantastic from Beast Coast to really pick apart that defensive setup there from PB. We'll see what they can do this time around in round 3.
Yeah, those other two players that were left alive for Parabellum after things had turned themselves around, also stuck closer to the front door side of the map, such as the janitor's closet, and unfortunately just didn't have the angles needed to work themselves in here. Nice job from Finka. She saves the day for Drip specifically, but Drip can't save himself as Eska commits to the flank. Surf is going to be able to trade that on it. Anthony adds one more on top of it, but Creator stays in the fight as well, as we now go down to a 3 versus 2 with Creators and Wimpy looking to clutch it out for PB here. Creators, a tough fight, but he finds one, nearly gets a second. Sweater goes low, but the cross is there from Sweater instead, and now Wimpy has to find the trade. A 1v1, it's got to be Slash to make the move, but he gets it done. The veteran can still clutch it out as we see another round go up on the board for Beast Coast.
These are getting so close here. Yes, it's border. Yes, it's offensive-sided, but, I mean, a bare-knuckle brawl between these two teams as of right now. Truly impressive stuff, especially for the offensive squad of Beast Coast in the moment, as they are firing on all cylinders, and boy do I mean that. What an aggressive showing from them, especially with the buck play that they had on the Armory wall. Just decimate the entire thing, flood into Armory, and start taking gunfights left and right. It was fantastic to see. But now Parabellum, they have to do something about this. They simply cannot get one over on BC.
It's usually late round plays we're seeing from Beast Coast, at least as far as the last 2 rounds were concerned anyway. The first one,
that last round was a little bit faster than last second. So,
but yeah, either way, Beast Coast always making a massive effort in the dying moments, at least of their part of the play for the round there, just forcing themselves into Parabellum's defensive setup, and it's a work time after time again, especially with a clutch factor coming out there from so many of these players. This is a strong showing for Beast Coast on their first day out. Mind you, again, this is one of the teams that's been looking to try and repeat or possibly replicate the success we saw from the Sonics last year, where they have one core, very experienced player leading the team forward and 4 very, very eager gunners following him behind here, looking to try and claim a title for themselves this year.
Yeah, Super might want to copyright that as soon as he possibly can, because I think we're going to continue to see it as Siege progresses farther and farther into its lifespan. But for now, inside of round 4, did have some switch-ups for Beast Coast. Not for Anthony, as he was simply just highlighting Thatcher along with Thatcher. Whereas Slash, though, he's off of the Zofia and on over to the IQ. And this is a fantastic pickup. This is them droning out the map and using that attacker repick to its fullest ability, because IQ, well, she's a direct counter to Eska. They now know where he is whenever that cardiac sensor's in his hand.
Someone expected, though, to have him inside of that room, and thankfully he has some built-in security measures to play from inside of the room named after that to some extent. So we'll continue to see him more than likely thrive, despite the fact that the intel's out for Beast Coast. But indeed, Parabellum needs to try and pick up this first volley of kills. They have been falling behind. This is a big move from Surf, moves in, crushes onto Eska, but thankfully he's got an escape hatch open, so he's going to be able to get out of here. However, bad news for the members of Parabellum, as they'll lose control of security only about a minute into the round.
So far, so good for both of these teams. Parabellum able to fall back successfully and might be able to play these nitro cells in later and get some big pickups here. But now before Eska starts taking some damage from Slash up top, he'll be able to get rid of all of these cameras and everything else in between with that scanner. So now Eska, with the cardiac sensor away, he's simply going to be playing the angles upstairs to see if he can find anything. He's going to have to be quick about this cardiac sensor now, knowing that the IQ is in play.
Slash trying to see if he can relocate anything downstairs here, most notably would be Eska's position, but not available to him at this point in time here. And keep in mind, of course, Kool-Aid still present inside of Armory lockers, along with Wimpy also. Eska, a nice nitro from him, playing off the intel from that heartbeat sensor, more than likely catches Slash and knocks out the IQ, preventing any further intel bleeding over as far as his position is concerned.
Well, it seems as though Beast Coast was hung up on that for quite some time, but they've been able to traverse over towards bottom square, get the single panel open here at the back of Tellers. Drip more than likely looking for a very similar plant to last time as he'll try to tuck in. Pre-fires left and right, waiting for the swing from Customs as well, as he knows that the comms have to be going crazy right now for PB. But it's Anthony to actually get rid of quite a few PB members. Eska with a beautiful shot. Can he finish it up?
Stop the plant.
It's Drip. Surf also to take one down, but now it's down in the last 30 seconds. Whippy picks up one, and Parabellum, can they get their first round? Not if Anthony has something to say about it. This will make it a triple. It'll be a quad if he's able to secure all of these frags inside of this one. Has the case down, but with only 15 seconds remaining, Whippy's got an angle from the balcony, and Parabellum will find their first defensive round.
Whippy playing off some great confidence and intel, more importantly coming out from his dying teammate on the ground there. Yeah, he's more likely going to swing this window, just sit up on top on that balcony. If he commits to a plant, you've got a clean way to hop down and potentially counter him out there as well. Excellently done, as finally Parabellum are on the board for their defensive half after 3 consecutive rounds from Beast Coast, and it's one on a Teller's hold. We're not going to see them move back upstairs just yet. Instead, they're going to head over to Customs for their second to last hold.
All right, well, it seems as though Border has not switched up in the sense of, what side is favored. It's definitely still offender-sided, although I will say this, the defensive strategy, it is really, really fun to watch. I mean, the different ways that they're able to hold things, especially around the 90 hallway upstairs with that single panel reinforcement to not only watch the balcony window, but also assist a player inside of, CCTV and stuff like that. There's so many new things that are brought to the table in this map that are really, really cool, especially because when you first look at it, it's not something that you really get a sense of. You're just like, oh, they kind of did a quality of life update. This is okay, I guess. But honestly, it is very, very fun to watch. We'll see how this one goes here as Parabellum. They will not be upstairs inside of Armory lockers. Oh no. Instead, they will be back down inside of Customs for the very first time here with a deployable shield at the top of Metal of all places.
The aggressive potential from Beast Coast is still something that Parabellum have to fear, whether it's clearing out these early holds upstairs in security or getting outright entries into the site. Beast Coast have been excelling in that part of the game, with Anthony most recently getting that double to push them to the inside of the site on the previous round here. But finally, failing to follow it through due to some great late adjustments we saw from Parabellum as well. They are able to finally counter it back out with a great position upstairs. Makes an easy clutch out of the 1v2 in those dying moments of the round. So Drip going to try to quickly open up jail for himself, and that'll be a fairly easy process, thankfully, as Thatcher's not only in play, but in the server finally, played by Anthony right now. So quick job there to open up that wall and get Beast Coast some serious ground to consider.
Well, it's going to take some time to clear all of this out as Creators will land a beautiful shot onto Sweater. Has a deployable shield to play around as well as he gets tagged up, but he's still going to be able to maintain his life as of right now. And now this has thrown a wrench into the cogs of Parabellum, or rather Beast Coast's plans on this offensive side. As, well, he's stuck inside of CCTV with Eska. They really don't have a direct avenue in order to get rid of them. Surf still has one frag grenade, Sweater had the rest of them, and yes, they still have the ability to burn in the likes of Drip and Slash, but this seems like so much time will be wasted in this position from BC if they can't get something going in the next couple of seconds.
Beast Coast has been playing a patient game throughout most of this map so far, so it's no surprise we see them holding out here, waiting to see if maybe Parabellum will make a mistake or if they can find the intel to allow them to excel regardless. Beast Coast simply waiting this time down right now here, hoping to try and catch Creators or someone else, as there's still all this upstairs presence to be dealt with, despite the fact that Beast Coast have access through jail. They can't just go right for it. Penguin and Creators both excel at picking up the 2 picks through the window there, as Slash and one more member of Beast Coast do falter. Parabellum looking so strong suddenly on this defensive hold, as now it's just Anthony and Surf looking to clutch this one out, as Anthony hopes for a rotate through metal stairs, more than likely not going to get it, as everyone from Parabellum is locked in their positions and really has no reason to move an inch given the 5v2 advantage they're now playing from. I say that, but Penguin goes for a bit of a wild swing out through the beepers. He's going to get caught by Anthony.
Anthony has yet another gunfight, but he'll lose it to the Froster. Actually, Creators, who takes him down from upstairs via the hatch. Surf will take down Wimpy, as it's only Surf now at the bottom of Metal, but it'll be Kool-Aid to take him down. And round 5 will go PB's way as well, as they go back-to-back on this defensive side.
PB finally getting their footing onto the ground, and more importantly, delaying out that opening push from the members of Beast Coast that seemingly be giving that team all the room they need to work with in order to get themselves into the site, if not at least set up for their aggressive tendencies later on on into the round here. 3-3 certainly going to be in the cards. We are returning to a site where so far it's been successful for Beast Coast. It's going to be the Armory as well as Archives hold for the final round of the half.
And also, guys, if you do hear that audio break every once in a while when it comes to the actual in-round things, is only on our end, so do not worry about that. All of the players at the venue still have full game audio, and it's nothing to be concerned with. It'll just reset in the next round, just like it did right now, because we have game audio once again. So nothing to worry about in that category. Either way, down to round 6 here is, well, this is the very last round of this half. Before we switch sides, and Parabellum are going to be going back to Armory Lockers, which we haven't seen them defend successfully just yet, I don't believe.
No, we have not. Only seeing it played, I believe, back in round number 1 there, and they've, for the most part, stayed away from it ever since then due to the way that we've seen things change up. We are going to see at least one switch up on attacker repick here, by the way, in case you didn't catch it yourself. Anthony just locking that repick in as he is instead going to bring the Nomad over the Thatcher, which he had originally selected, wanting to try and catch those potential swings, whether they're going to be in the Red Hall 90 position or potentially behind this team as they try to execute in from that West main spot. They'll be able to block that off and prevent any pesky members of Parabellum from getting in the way of their execute here.
Ooh, it seems like it might go one step deeper as well, as Anthony's starting to prep things on this north side, and that's where we see a lot of window play, whether it be for the vents window or whether it be for sandwich window, which looks in towards Armory, but we'll have to see. Beast Coast setting up quite similarly, though, on the other side of the map, as we'd seen from their clears previously. Penguin going to be taking a lot of heat as well. Recognition here from Beast Coast as they know that the Jaeger is around this position. Its creators yet again. So we saw him taken down previously, but rezzed as he was able to crawl his way into the bottom of square, but not before Eska lost his life instead.
So once again, a very inactive round from both teams here as Parabellum is holding the line against Beast Coast at the very entrance point of the building. Oh, Creators dodging a bullet literally there as he gets himself out of a bad position and potentially keeps himself still at full HP and away from that. You had already mentioned it earlier, but once again, it's a factor. Penguin being so low, it won't matter too much over by the east stairs as Wimpy gets a winning Nitro cell up on top to knock out Sweater and move a very important operator from the table. Finka now done, and she hasn't used any of her adrenal surges.
And that's the threats of balconies inside of Rainbow Six. We're about to have quite a bit of this on 2 of our maps, and maybe some on Theme Park if somebody gets real antsy towards cash, I guess. But, I mean, when it comes to Border and Skyscraper, which is now inside of our competitive map pool, you're going to be seeing a lot of things like this where people are trying to compete with these players out on the balconies via gunfights or, more importantly, explosives, just like we see on the east stairwell here. Nice pick up there from Parabellum as we go into the last minute, but also a good read by them as they apparently know what's going on inside of this space drip.
Oh,
we
so
see
close.
The explosive play into the back of Archives. Could come at any moment as Anthony is continuing to set up this office area. Could be looking for an Archives execute here instead, and Anthony, he's missing crucial shots. Creators, he didn't even get hit. He's still at 100% HP, and with 40 seconds remaining, he might be able to make the stand that's so desperately needed by PB.
Kratos is good intel to play off of here too. Pretty sure there's a motion sensor somewhere around on the inside of Archives here that is going to detect a push should someone try to hop in through the window or push out the doorway. Penguin also still holding the line. He's going to block that access point so Creators can worry about the internal office pushes where we've already seen Beast Coast try to make one play previously. 20 seconds left and Beast Coast are struggling even to just get into proper positioning here to make their push. A good pre-spray coming out there from Surf, but it doesn't really connect into too much damage. He's just got to go for it now, and Penguin can ignite. What a shot as he's hopping over the banister. Wimpy gets the last frag, but it's Parabellum coming back alive in the later portion of the first half as they tie it up 3-3.
Just tried to keep that ball under the cup moving as they transfer it back over to the Armory balcony, but it's not enough. An uncooked frag grenade activates the player inside of half wall, and some beautiful shots with that SMG-11 ring out. Parabellum tie it up on the defensive end after a fantastic offensive standpoint from Beast Coast to start us off. But Parabellum, they're able to pull it back and equalize us here as they go into arguably the favorable side.
Let's go, that SMG-11 presence. One to be respected as we can see just how quickly you can end your run in any of these rounds. Parabellum, now back alive as they've taken control at 3-3.
They're really pulling it all out today, both of these teams. This is going to be a very, very interesting one. Not only does Beast Coast now have Chunk in, which is somebody that we don't see very often. We've really only seen him on Cafe when it comes to kitchen defenses. Well, arguably, he's the best op to bring on that site because you can infect the entire site with those fire grenades. In this kind of capacity, I really don't know what Beast Coast will be going with for that. But for Parabellum, they're also going to be bringing in Osa, and we've seen her used quite a few times, specifically on Coastline, which is no longer in the map pool anymore, for some pretty creative plants. So we have a lot going on inside of this round.
There's quite a bit that can be done potentially with Anthony, especially considering how many like walls and pillars you have downstairs on the site itself to bounce those pellets off of. So quite a bit here. I think for the more geometrically complicated sites, we're hopefully going to start to see teams experiment more and more with potentially bringing the Tachanka into play here. Bit of a dirty one from Creators as he uses the shield to not only get himself past that initial balcony that the members of Beast Coast were struggling with so much, but now set up peak holes for the entire east to west cross.
This is a gorgeous setup here from PB. One of the big struggles of this top floor is having potential members try and push you through CCTV. Just getting rid of the stuff in general, but luckily enough, Beast Coast, they have an answer for this. There's a nitro cell downstairs, and Parabellum, they don't know a damn thing about it, so they're going to lose their hard breach. They still have Wimpy, though, so we'll be able to torch some lines instead of the reinforced walls here, but they have a lot to do still for this first offensive round. Beast Coast, they've completely occupied the office space. Anthony currently inside of Fountain holding things down for Sweater, who's even farther into the actual area.
Well, Penguin does lose the additional exos. He does allow himself to get the first one off without a hitch, as I'm sure you guys at home probably caught by now. So that wall is going to be open. Full office access is available here for Parabellum. They've lost some of the Osa shields, though, so they don't necessarily have the strongest overwatch for this, with Penguin now dead and no trades so far to be found by our attackers. That's going to be the main priority for them, to try and even out these numbers, make the execute a little bit more palatable before they try to throw anyone else at this fight here. And what a catch from Sweater, as he's going to be able to knock out Wimpy, but Kool-Aid quickly cuts him off. That is going to be the player advantage maintained. And Anthony as well getting away with a steal here. Kool-Aid should have had him down dead to rights, but no, it's not the case. The good news, though, once again, Creators is here to try and save the day, but Surf is there down below for just as quick of an exchange. It comes down to a 3v1 in the favor of Beast Coast, and everything's going to fall to Eska, unfortunately, without even any case control to play off of it. He still has to make the transition down to the first floor.
And now Parabellum, they're running into the same problems that Beast Coast were when it came to the latter half of their offensive side, which is they don't have any answer to the defensive setup of what's going on. It's a very, very big struggle bus for them as of right now. Parabellum thought that they were doing something magical with this Osa setup over towards the east stairs, but it was simply, destroyed with one single nitro cell, and since then they simply haven't been able to recover. So it's been hard fought, but it's still going to be a Beast Coast round either way, as they'll take the lead yet again.
Surf again helping out quite a bit here for Beast Coast in these mid-round exchanges. This is a player that had a lot of eyes on him. Cookie specifically talking about what kind of performance this player might be able to bring for Beast Coast. But as far as the mid-round consistency is concerned and his ability to kind of keep the team on top of the round here, he's been absolutely fantastic for trades and getting some of these clutch kills and watching out for his teammates' backs if the need should arise.
Yeah, I really, really like how Beast Coast played their numbers there as well, keeping that aggressive position inside of office after they get that initial pick. Wall opens up and that kind of thing, but they're not too worried about it. They will stay all the way over inside of that space and take the fight to PB, and it works out magically for them. So we'll see what they want to do this time around here as Beast Coast will head down towards Bathroom Tellers, but for Parabellum, not too much of a change up inside of their lineup, including Creators, who will still be on the Osa.
So the setup goes downstairs once again here for Beast Coast as they look to get themselves closer and closer in their penultimate round. We'll see if they can accomplish that, and Parabellum as well. We'll try and pick up the slack from the previous one. A good opener from Parabellum, but failed to follow it through, unfortunately, after that Nitro Cell threw them off of their game, with Penguin being eliminated and their primary hard breach being knocked out. Things went very, very slowly from that point forward, and unfortunately, for the most part, they walked directly into the waiting hands of Beast Coast, especially as they tried to clear out towards Office and Archives.
Okay, well, the gates have opened in Parabellum out and onto the field now here inside of round 8. Some exchanging of utility as they move some other things around just to give themselves some more vision, as well as make sure that they're protected with these ADSs in as well. We're starting to get to see some new dot sights as well here as well. All the 1Xs are now on every gun in the game. Yes, the best quality of life update that Ubisoft has ever given us for Rainbow Six Siege is upon us, folks, in Demon Vale, but sadly, won't be able to see our new operator till stage 2. Luckily enough, though, you can still use the sights in all of that. So for you who just watch the game every once in a while, that is why you will be seeing Russian sights on guns that, well, aren't Russian.
So we'll see here for Parabellum now as they're going to start to work their way in. Same breach has been made. Great pre-fire from Penguin. New Sweater was going to try to get aggressive on the inside of the office, and this time catches him instead of becoming a victim of it.
Great opening here for PB as they'll take down Sweater. Anthony, he's now having to go fishing. Has to hit the deck as well as he almost gets taken out. And they need this utility up and alive. It's so much delay in his pocket right now. Still has 12 of those, but Surf! Oh my God! Creators and Penguin, they both get taken down in the hallway. No one is paying attention to the basement as these nitro cells continue to rack up kills.
So much soft breach potential coming out from the first to the second floor, especially in that part of the map. So these nitro cells are going to be a consistent thing that teams will have to deal with here. If it's working for Beast Coast, you can bet that quite a few of the other teams in the league are going to try to play this as well here. So Parabellum needs to get a leash on that sooner rather than later here. It's going to constantly plague their attacks throughout the season and throughout the stage here. Anthony, of course, has successfully made the transition back down to the first floor and is playing as defensively as he can. You can see him quickly trying to open up a rotate hole there because Eska, as well, is deleting all of this floorboard above him. So going to try and open up an escape hatch for himself and does indeed get out of that bit of a dodgy situation.
Yeah, the verticality hasn't changed up too much when it comes to border. The only massive consideration really is the concrete pad that's now inside of the armory door, mostly because that's used to be where the default plant was all of the time. It was very difficult to try and well, defend yourself on the offensive side from anyone because of how many times you got blown up from downstairs. But past that, everything else is relatively the same. A lot of soft destruction around the map, and that's what we've seen both of these defensive squads abuse up against each other. And now Wimpy, he's going for a plant, and not a single soul is even in the screen. You can see Beast Coast, they seemingly are aware, and a fire grenade will come in, but Wimpy's going to get taken down, and now it's down into the 2 versus 2, but Parabellum, they have the verticality. This is a huge problem for Beast Coast and Slash, as he will go down as I speak his name. Round 8, it's already been closed out.
Such a simple solution for Parabellum. They just cool it off once it comes down into that even fight. Like, all right, just get on the drones, and like, oh wait, no one's watching the bathroom hole.
Too much breathing.
Oh, we can just waltz right in and get a free plant. Like, yeah, our planter is immediately refrag because all they have to do is rotate someone in there and they have them cut off. But as you said, the post-plant positions were already locked down. They had all that vertical control opened up too, so they were able to trade out 2 more kills while their planter was lost. Very good follow-up there from Parabellum. Another great recovery. We're seeing some from Beast Coast earlier on in the series, but now it is Parabellum that does it here and ties us up once again at a 4-4 scoreline.
Super, super interesting stuff from both of these teams because really it's almost seeming as though the new border, a lot more is happening through the vertical play than it is the horizontal play. I mean, like, obviously we're still seeing gunfights happen horizontally. That is how 99.9% of gunfights happen. But there is a lot of vertical play going down between these two teams, even including that post plant. Both of the Parabellum players, I do believe, were upstairs holding different angles through the floor of office. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways in order for these teams on that offensive side to be able to get a plant down and defend. Well, same thing for the defense as well, as they're able to use those nitro cells or use, you know, a character like Pulse to try and get some very serious info that they can capitalize on.
So, tied up once again between both of these teams, and the repick phase has concluded now for our attackers on Parabellum. We are in the server with their operator choices, and we're going to have to see how this fares for them as Parabellum look to try and take the lead away from Beast Coast. These teams now kind of going back and forth against each other with no true winner being found here, despite the streaky nature of our first half. Slash as well, going to position himself on this little bit of a jump up, can catch potential moves from Kool-Aid or another one of the members of Parabellum as they try to work their way into security, but at the same time, as you guys can probably tell by this point, Eska and at least one other member of this Parabellum roster are putting a big focus on clearing out these second floor positions, already doing that great damage to Drip with a nade shucked in behind the half wall here inside of Archives and away from that. Still looking to try and isolate out the position of Slash at some point here too. Kool-Aid though has got to be careful. Looks like there's another player in the hallway, and that's actually going to catch him. It's Sweater once again, sneaking up on the Parabellum roster as he's done so many times in this game to catch the first kill of the round.
Creators and the rest of PB, they have to get something done with this top floor, and it all starts with this. Creators with a beautiful pick onto Slash, playing the Ashe as well, which is somebody we don't get to see too often anymore since her nerf, but some beautiful shots with the G36 will land. So now for Beast Coast, it's equalizer in between these two, going down in the last minute and 30. Sweater will be able to continue holding on to Office as he's worried about Radio Window as of right now, and he really should be. We saw a PB member there just moments ago that is now rotated in towards the top of East, and this is an opportunity for Sweater if he wants to go for it, but it's simply going to be a bait as he'll punch both of the bottoms of that panel and will not hop out. But Creators, he will instead move the narrative along as he takes down yet another BC member and yet another BC member as well. Creators, he'll pop off, take out 3 as finally Beast Coast are able to get some semblance of control back in their pocket as well.
Talked about how Creators was going to be a big key piece of the puzzle here for Parabellum, not only in today's game, but throughout the season, as they made a pretty dramatic swap to be able to bring him into the fold. But so far, seems to be working in this round and in this game here as he leads 12-7. And obviously with those 2 big kills for himself. Not only that, but knocking out Sweater, a player that's become a major issue here for the Parabellum attack inside of the mid-rounds. Also cleared things out. But Parabellum slowing themselves down once again, using a lot of their additional drone intel, still half of the pool to play into here. And still with over 30 seconds to go in a 3v2. Time is going to start to test them, though, as we get past that point. But it looks like they're finally ready to make a move here. Wimpy looking to move in, and he's got 1 player behind him. The nades move forward as well to try to catch anyone that would be holding this forward angle. Surf unscopes at just the wrong time as he's not going to be able to catch the player. Swinging out from the inside of Tellers, and now here's the problem. But Wimpy, what a great exchange. He's got to clutch it all out now, though, as Anthony has found both of his teammates. He's going to try to fake it, expects the flank, doesn't see it, catches him in small. He's got to make the play, though. Can he get him? No, he can, and Anthony clutches out a round for Beast Coast as they'll get the 5 first.
Man, you really thought from what we saw initially that Parabellum were going to be able to do something with that round. I mean, Creators, what an effort from him. That triple kill upstairs especially, meaning so much to what Parabellum could have done in round 9, but it didn't matter at the end of the day. Anthony, clutch inside of the clutch situation for the 1v1. As he'll pick it up with a chunk of all things. Almost got caught off guard as well. It just seemed as though Parabellum had no idea where he was. They commit to the fake plant, step up, and, well, he's trying to push small Office, and that just throws everything for a loop. Some gunfire goes wide. He's able to get back out of the room. It was just a whole mess. But now Beast Coast, they're back in the lead here at 5-4.
That's the double-edged sword, unfortunately, of this slow mid-round we've been seeing from Parabellum after they make those first few entries and kind of have brought things down to a palatable point near a 3v3 or something like that. We saw how it worked for them, as obviously they found that gaping hole in the defense, which allowed them to push the back of Bathroom and get a clean plant off there with their 2 other players ready to hold the post plant. Problem is, it looks like in that last round, didn't really figure out the intel they needed to find and ultimately just wasted a good 30-40 seconds and then had to thrust themselves into the site, not ready for the aggression that would come out specifically from Anthony.
It is so crazy that I'm about to say this, but this is the first time that we've played Vents this entire time.
Is it really?
Yes, this is the first time that we went down to server in Vents, so, or AC, whatever you guys call it at home. Everyone's got their own comm for that front room there, but either way, it's still going to be an extended hold here for the defense as Beast Coast is worried about this top floor. They damn well should be. We saw how earlier on they were able to abuse it and get a beautiful plant down, and oh my, what a shot from Sweater. Reads Penguin perfectly, and will take down the player early on here inside of the round. And, well, Surf finding that a little funny as well, apparently.
Sweater at the moment here just dancing with the Parabellum members as they try to find the entry here. That's going to be more damage trying to come out from him, but not connecting just yet. And unfortunately for him, bites off a little bit more than he can chew here. Wastes a good first minute of the round, to be fair to him, but still ultimately he's just going to go down with a 1-for-1 and some time wasted off the clock.
Dastardly with these mechanics here early inside of the round, especially Sweater bouncing around that bottom floor. I think we're moments away from a beautiful clip there, but unfortunate for him, he'll lose his life down low. Now with 1 minute and 48 seconds remaining here in round 10, we'll have to see if Beast Coast can continue this defensive standpoint, and they will as of right now. Slash will get a big pickup onto Aska here, I do believe, is will be the second one to falter. Not too much going on the Parabellum side. Creators has been on this exact same balcony for quite some time now as they continue to try and find new players to try and deal with. This top floor has been completely evacuated from Beast Coast as well, as they'll just play things out on site. They've got the man advantage, and they just got to trade things out correctly.
Could be a good nade being cooked here, but it looks like our opponent on the other side has caught it. Great moves coming in, I believe, from Surf to keep not only himself alive, but keep the constant presence going for Beast Coast at a 4v3. Parabellum's going to try to open things up from the bathroom side, and they'll be able to get the job done. On top of that, Wimpy will get the first entry for the team as well. Another one also going to be scavenged from Kool-Aid as he's able to find Drip. One more down as Surf tries to aggro up the metal stairs, and it leaves just the most experienced member of this team in the fight, but not for very long either. Parabellum with a swift response to the previous round's loss. They take another tie point here at 5-5. To another round here, and here we go, folks. Already on pause, already through the initial pick phase, and we're heading into the round itself at 5-5. Keep in mind, folks, we only have 2 rounds left here, so overtime is certainly in the cards here. If either of these teams are not able to pick up the next 2 consistently here, if we continue to volley back and forth, as has been the trend so far in this half, overtime will certainly be happening, and we'll have to go 3 more rounds to find our first winner of the season.
Are you saying that we're going to get overtime in our first NAL game
so.
of the season?
Like it, yeah.
I mean, hey, I've called a lot of maps a teeter-totter before, and Border just so happens to be one of those. So honestly, I'm here for it. I wish that we had infinite OT just so we could be here till, like, I don't know, 1, 2 a.m. But we don't, luckily enough for you guys at home. So don't crack the energy drink just yet. You can save that one for later. But as of right now, round 11 has already started off here, although it's only moments in, so not too much action going down just yet. Only thing to really call back on is that Parabellum, well, they've already lost 2 drones. And you're more than likely going to be seeing that throughout the season as well, not only from Parabellum, but from other teams, given the fact that we have attacker repick now. There is now incentivization to actually put your drone in the building in the prep phase, which we didn't have for, well, 7 years. It's a long time.
It's quite a big change, obviously,
yes,
that our teams are going to have to get used to. Defenders as well may need to come up with some new things, like maybe holding a few pieces of utility until after the round gets started or something like that. We're going to see, I think, a lot of innovation over the next few months as both defensive and attacking teams try to find ways to play around that. It's Sweater, the terror of the offices, once again striking true as he catches Kool-Aid, knocking him out. And so far, a clean kill. No one else from Parabellum even near to try and trade that out. Additional support might be coming in from Surf as well, as he's going to try to assist with the players over towards security and make sure that no one can successfully entry from there. And Sweater doesn't even look like he needs any help. Creators tries to peek out against him, and once again, another successful 1v1 into the pocket of Beast Coast. Can he make it 3? We're going to find out in a second as he finds that drone, but no, the presence is too much. Penguin and one more member of PB push him out. They try to go for a second, but it's not successful. Wimpy and Penguin lose the large majority of their health pool. Eska, though, might be one to save things again as he's able to try and trade onto Anthony. That only evens the numbers up into a 3v3, however. Parabellum still with a lot more work to do, a lot more movement to make, and not really a whole lot of HP on either Penguin or Wimpy to get that job done.
Well, the fantastic news is that they still have Sledge. Eska, a lot of work to do here as he needs to begin breaking up this office flooring, as well as a lot of different holes around the space to try and fend off these Beast Coast members who were looking for the play up metal, but then go against it instead as these angles now start to open up on site. Slash will commit to some new angles as well, so he'll blow his way into Passport, and Drip will pick up Penguin.
Another good kill being found here from Beast Coast. And again, that issue we were talking about earlier about the low HP starts to rear its head out as Eska, to some extent, needs to stay upstairs. He cannot take the brunt of this damage as you would somewhat expect him to be able to do here. Now, even worse, Drip has the cutoff to catch him. Can't confirm it just yet, but Wimpy, as you can see, he's already made his transition. And Drip, what a dodge, what a dash to get one more kill at the end of the round. It's Beast Coast up on map point first.
I'm sorry I'm laughing. Drip just popped off, and then Mark just started walking away from him. He's like, okay, all right. Like, okay, Drip, we get it. You killed 2 people.
I'm going to take 3 steps to the left so I can save my eardrums here in a sec.
Exactly. But that's the kind of energy that you want from someone on your squad.
Yeah.
When things like that happen, you want somebody that's hyped, because that gets you hyped. You have the energy for the next round, especially in such a grueling game like Siege, where you have long-form rounds, and you're consistently having to hold angles for such a very, very long time. You know, it sometimes gets difficult to keep yourself in it. So it's always nice to have somebody that has that motivation to stay there and fight. It's great.
It's an interesting point to come into this next topic that I want to bring up real quick, because, you know, folks folks at home may have kind of like subconsciously noticed it, the downtime in between rounds is significantly less now because of attacker repick. So we only have that 10 or 15 seconds to pick your operators, and that's it. We're into the round. No longer do you have like a 40 to 45 second sequence of reveal phase, 6-pick and all that, where the players are just sitting there kind of waiting for things to start. They're going right back into it, focusing up on drone games, setting up if they're on defense, whatever that may be. So it's putting a lot more pressure on our players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what it feels like for you guys at home, but for us, I'm assuming for you as well, obviously, this has almost felt like a speed run from the scoreline. Like, I feel like there's no way in hell we should be at 6-5, at least, with my internal clock. So it's pretty interesting to see just how this effect has not only changed up, competitive things, but also has almost made Siege easier to watch in a sense.
Definitely the case. So very curious to see how things are going to continue to evolve there as Slash tries to open things up with a bang this time as he attempts to catch the early entry from Parabellum over towards the east stairs. Not going to necessarily be able to line it up so much, though. So Kool-Aid's life will be spared for the time being, and we'll have some additional members of the team looking to work their way in. Overall, it just seems like an east-focused push here at the moment for PB, and Kool-Aid is feeling adventurous. He'll move outside of the stairway hall, try to get himself into a position to catch either the swings from the inside of security or anybody who might try to go around the corner from 90. Anthony would be that player, but as you can see, even he's feeling a little hesitant about it right now because of the setups that Parabellum may have done.
Just every time we get any, video footage of these upstairs angles, it just blows me away the amount of different things the defense have to do to try and fend off this offense. And yet, still able to make some headway. Parabellum, they'll take down Sweater early, who has been a thorn in their side for some time, but now PB, they're starting to heat up. Slash will go down, but does the rest of the roster have something to say about this? Anthony almost with a beautiful shot, but Kool-Aid will take him down instead. It's a 5 versus 2 as Drip will finally fire back. Parabellum would finally lose a member as Kool-Aid will try and work his way in through Office. Surf, the only other member here for Beast Coast, as he'll tag up Creator. Still so much time for PB to drone out this situation as well, but it doesn't seem as though they want to do that, and now they're losing so many bodies, John. Everybody's dying. Drip is outside. He jumped out of vents in order to get that kill, and Surf gets wimpy. What is happening to Parabellum?
What a turnaround again from Beast Coast, and they're about to shut it down. Eska's scared to even drop, and he should be because Surf is waiting for him. What a first game. What an entrance into the NAL as Surf goes huge on so many different rounds to hand their first game of the season, their first official as a team, right over to them as Beast Coast take control of Border 7-5.